Formula One's bid to attract Porsche and Audi has yet to clear a major hurdle, as there is still disagreement with the current engine manufacturers over concessions for new entrants. F1's trying to convince the VW Group to commit to building a power unit for the new regulations set to be introduced in 2026. These regulations have to be signed off by the FIA by December 15th, and they have been specifically framed to encourage the VW Group, which owns Audi and Porsche, to enter. But with some self-imposed deadlines fast approaching, several major items of discussion appear to remain unresolved within the F1 paddock and within the VW boardroom. The Volkswagen Group is weighing up whether to commit Porsche, Audi, or maybe even both to an engine program for F1's new technical rules that will come into force in 2026. Convincing a new manufacturer to join is a key target for F1 and the FIA, and the stakeholders are going to significant lengths to achieve that, including shaping the next generation engine regulations to appeal to the VW Group's needs. Part of that is removing the MGUH from the power unit to drop one of F1's most complex technical components and help make the engine simpler and cheaper. That's a target that will also be helped by the eventual agreement of an engine development cost cap. Mercedes, Ferrari and Renault have made it clear they are willing to do this despite the investment that's gone into mastering the MGUH technology, because they understand the importance of attracting a new manufacturer. What they object to is a proposal to allow prospective new manufacturers concessions, mainly increased dyno time and extra budget allowance, to help them develop their first engines. Mercedes argues this is giving an unnecessary leg up when other teams and manufacturers have had to work hard to get to where they are. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff said nobody can expect to enter the Champions League for the first time and be straight into the final and go home with the big trophy. We've been there for a long time, we've invested lots of money and sweat and blood and terrible results in order to get us where we are. The incumbent manufacturers feel they are already making a significant compromise because dropping the MGUH will require the development of very different power units, as it is such a vital component. Plus, the new regulations intend to massively increase the electrical output from the MG UK. So they have a big task in front of them anyway, and there's a belief that manufacturers like Porsche and Audi do not need additional support for various reasons. The new regulations should be signed off by the FIA this month, which means 4 full years of preparation and plenty of time for a new engine program to be put together. This is all a new entrant would have to focus on, whereas Ferrari, Mercedes and Renault would be developing brand new 2022 power units that will then be frozen for 4 seasons, but will need to be maintained, assembled and potentially updated for reliability reasons during that time. In addition, Porsche and Audi have extensive knowledge of hybrid technology from their recent LMP1 programs in the World Endurance Championship and at the Le Mans 24 Hours. Ferrari boss Mattia Binotto says, removing the MGUH implies that it's a brand new project for everybody. So it's starting from scratch for everybody, and I don't feel that they've got a disadvantage. They've got skills on fuel, skills on renewable energies, and skills on electrical technology. I'm not sure they're lacking the competencies to challenge the current manufacturers. Another area of concern is that the VW Group's interest could result in a deal with Red Bull to partner with its new powertrains division, massively reducing the expense of an F1 program and allowing the technological expertise to be shared as well. Red Bull Powertrains has been set up to take over the running of Honda's engines, which Red Bull has agreed a deal to continue using. But more importantly, the company exists to build the first ever Red Bull F1 engine for the new rules. A new facility is being built and furnished in Milton Keynes, including top-of-the-line engine dynos from Austrian specialist AVL. There's a question over how this would fit with proposed spending restrictions if multiple companies are funding the same program. This story could and should develop very quickly, and we want to make sure you stay up to date with it. To do that, just make sure you're subscribed to the race and have notifications turned on. It helps us out massively, and make sure you don't miss any of the videos we hope you're going to love. As we've made clear, the VW Group's proposed entry was initially assumed to be on the basis of it working together with Red Bull. It was also possible that both the Porsche and Audi brands could join the grid by having separate branding deals for that Red Bull engine. But VW's options seem even broader. A full in-house engine project badged as Porsche or Audi is believed to be a possibility. A standalone engine project would appeal, as it would give the VW Group more autonomy than a shared project with Red Bull. The engine would also have a clearer brand identity, and it would maximise the existing knowledge at Porsche and Audi, plus their supply chains in Germany. Internally, it's believed to be a favoured option. Those that doubt how serious the VW Group might be only need to look back a few years to understand this kind of full-on project is high on their agenda. As recently as 2017, Porsche was heavily invested in an F1 project and even built an engine to the required specification for what was being mooted at the time as a new set of rules for 2021. We understand this was very close to materialising as a full F1 entry before the parent company intervened amid the Dieselgate scandal. That indicates how quickly a program like this can be killed off, but it does underline the interest, commitment and technological capacity that exists at VW. And new Porsche Motorsport boss Thomas Laudenbach has even gone as far as calling F1 far more interesting for the brand than in previous years. A downside to a full-on works program is that insiders claim this is trickier to pull off in Germany because of specific workers' union regulations. McLaren boss Andreas Seidel and Williams CEO Jost Capito, who have experience heading up factory Porsche and Volkswagen motorsport programs respectively, have both indicated this could be a stumbling block for an in-house F1 program. An important question raised by VW's apparent solo engine interest is what would happen to Red Bull if Porsche or Audi did get the green light to commit to their own in-house engine. It would appear to leave Red Bull, which has invested multiple millions into establishing Red Bull powertrains, in a tricky situation. It would be committed to the expense of the operation entirely on its own. But Red Bull's adamant it can take on this project solo, which if true would mean it doesn't feel the need to bend over backwards to get a Porsche deal over the line. And it would likely demand a generous deal for it to share that project with a manufacturer, because Red Bull will see this as something that needs to be done on its terms. There remain obvious benefits to the original suggestion of a VW and Red Bull collaboration, which is still on the table and something Red Bull's fledgling engine program is flexible enough to accommodate. And who knows, maybe an alignment between Red Bull and Porsche could be possible on terms as simple as Porsche branding if that's all the manufacturer decides it needs and Red Bull's willing to offer it on agreeable terms. If there's no Red Bull collaboration, then any VW project depends on what is considered the best strategy: a simple engine supply deal or a closer relationship with a team. Our sources have indicated that pursuing significant equity in a partnership team, in a similar way as Daimler owns 33% of the Mercedes team, is an option. McLaren and Williams are considered to be the most likely contenders here. Specialist automotive publication Autocar recently claimed that Audi had already agreed to buy the McLaren Group, which includes the racing division that operates the F1 team. But McLaren vehemently denied that with a strong statement issued in response that called it wholly inaccurate. Though McLaren has denied an outright sale has been agreed, previous speculation that Audi is interested in buying into McLaren is understood to be accurate. And we understand that Porsche's options beyond a Red Bull tie-up could include interest in a Williams investment. But would McLaren and Williams be prepared to sell? McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown recently commented that F1 teams will soon be worth more than $1 billion. Based on MSP Sports Marketing buying a 15% shareholding in McLaren for a reported £185 million, rising to a potential 33%, McLaren's nominal value is already quite close to that. If Audi wished to buy the team outright, it would be looking at an extraordinary price even if McLaren could be convinced to sell. Doralton Capleton, only recently purchased Williams, is in the early stages of plans to return the team to its World Championship winning glory and has always seen the team as a long-term investment. A different arrangement could be pursued depending on the terms of how such a team would be branded. A modern equivalent of BMW Williams may satisfy Porsche or Audi's needs. But the teams may be hesitant to allow investment from brands that may not be able to make long-term commitments, as they would be vulnerable to the changing opinions of the VW Group board. Just look at how F1's manufacturer boom in the 2000s eventually fell apart, with Ford, Honda, Toyota and BMW all owning teams then making sudden departures as soon as it no longer had the necessary boardroom support. All we can say with a reasonable degree of certainty is that various teams have been in play to some degree or another, and the VW Group has a few options to consider. A decision on whether to enter Porsche or Audi in F1, let alone whether that will happen with an existing team and how, will not be made until a VW board meeting scheduled for this month. And as F1's new power unit regulations need to be signed off by the FIA World Motorsport Council in mid-December, the clock is ticking. Let us know in the comments which of Porsche or Audi you'd like to see in F1 and which is the best way you think they should join the grid. This story could and should develop very quickly, and we want to make sure you stay up to date with it. To do that, just make sure you're subscribed to the race and have notifications turned on. It helps us out massively and make sure you don't miss any of the videos we hope you're going to love.